Hello, my name is Ella Brock, and here is my social inequality presentation for my Sociology 235 class. So I started by just going through what the concepts were and which ones I thought I could take a photo of, since many of them are theories and it's kind of hard to translate that into, what you're seeing around you. And my two locations that I filmed at are the Louisville area, so that includes school, Bellarmine, my house, and also Tennessee. We went to Tennessee to visit my older sister over the weekend, and so I took photos from that. And I think that the ones I took, specifically like the ones in the Parthenon, are a good way to show how these concepts have existed long before, the study of sociology has been a thing. Oh my god! Oh my gosh, that's me! Achieve status. This is me with my high school diploma. It was something I achieved. I know not many people can say that they have their high school diploma or GED. And this was something that I did work pretty hard for, because I was a valedictorian and I was able to get some good keys money from the work I put in during that time. This is my rat, Boots. I have 6 rats. Boots is very photogenic, so I chose him. For symbol represents something or stands for something else, and I kind of did the opposite of it with Boots. Rats are normally shown as being kind of gross or in dirty places and carrying disease. That's a symbol kind of bordering on a stereotype that's not true. For the most part, rats are extremely clean. They clean more than cats, and they are very sweet and lovable. They make wonderful pets. Boots is kind of showing that the symbolism of the rat doesn't mean it applies to them accurately, and how animals in general as symbols, that doesn't mean that's what they are. For socialization, I have this photo at the Parthenon in Tennessee, and I think that what made me think of socialization is the way that religion, specifically like the Greek myths, are often used as a way to teach lessons and stories, and it socializes people into what's right and wrong. Right now I'm thinking about, there's a story of a man serving his son to the gods, and they eat, and something about killing your child is very no. Or possibly it's the reverse, and it's a son serving his father's body parts. And also cannibalism, also very no. So, this was a story about a taboo and how, okay, you don't want to do that. And then also at the Parthenon, it has the giantomachy, the battle of gods and giants, and I put this for conflict perspective, since it just shows that the battle between groups for something else at the expense of another has been forever. That's for the most part how humans gain territory and resources, and I think it's almost one of the more primitive things, because all animals do that to get resources. And this perspective kind of makes me think about how rooted we are in animals and nature in a way. And I put that humans have been killing and fighting since the beginning. Even biblical Cain killed Abel. For gender, this book is at the Bellarmine Library on display. Before Gender, Lost Stories from Trans History. And I chose it because I think that this photo kind of shows that gender as a idea is so normalized to us that it takes someone to write a book about how one gender is not sex, and how the playing with gender happens with identity, and that there are things that happen in the in-between of masculine and feminine, obviously. Then for sexual dichotomy, I actually went to the Melbourne Art Center, and they had this lovely statue of a lovely lady, and the cowboy hat is not part of it, however, adds a lot of style. But the sexual dichotomy talks about the divisions of sex into two mutually exclusive categories, male and female, and how technically this statue is neither male nor female because it doesn't have the reproductive organs or DNA that would show chromosomes, and so we can only see her secondary sex attributes, and this is just what we attribute to being female. Is stereotypically and generally they have breasts, lack of a penis, smaller frame. Again, cowboy hat is not part of the gender or sex. Cowboy hat is something else. First, stratification. This is on a street in downtown Louisville. I could not tell you where it is. This shows a group of people waiting to take the bus while a luxury minivan, according to Google, is taking people directly to their location. And this kind of shows how even like the fact that public transportation is not as available in America, and how it's a sign of privilege that you have a car and that you can go places on your own time and not have to align your schedule with that of a bus or someone else. And I think it's a good way to see, like, here we have people in a high-end luxury vehicle while we have people taking the bus to have to get to places. Of course, these people could also be, just trying to go green, but odds are it's probably a need of public transportation. For social class, I have a photo of my hand at my work. These rings in total, probably about $30,000. I don't know about you, I can't afford that. I'm in like a quarter of that much amount of debt, and I'm still like, ooh. And at my job, I've kind of become accustomed to diamonds and gems and stuff like that. And at first it was really weird for me to be handling these really expensive stuff and being like, I guess I'm allowed to touch this. And now it's pretty normal, and I'm even finding myself getting picky about stones. I know which ones are good quality and lower quality, and how even though I know this information and I see them every day and I take photos of them, I can't afford these, and I'm making judgments based on something I can't be talking to, because again, I can't afford this. Yeah, these are real diamonds and platinum and stones that are expensive. Like I said, these are actually about $30,000 total. For middle class, I chose Bay's Bakery. This is my dad's friend's job. She owns it, and I put it because I think it works for middle class business owners, small business owners. Of course, she doesn't own all the means of production. She's probably renting out the space. The machines she uses are probably on loan, or she has a loan for them. Stuff like that, where she's able to have workers, but that doesn't mean that she's in upper class. She still has to work to get money. She cannot survive off of the just pure revenue that the store brings. And then for upper class, this is Buck Mason in Nashville. 12 South is a pretty high-end kind of neighborhood. When we were down there, there were a lot of stores that were way too expensive. I'm talking $100 to $300 for a pair of pants. Not up my alley. And class category usually includes owners of vast amounts of property and other forms of wealth, share owners, large corporations, members of prestigious families. And I think this is pretty much what this area is marketing towards. They were giving out like champagne to this like father and son duo that were just trying to buy pants, but they were getting a full consultation for it. And then for my conclusion, I had fun with this. I think this was a fun assignment. It was a good way to bring macro ideas back to a microscope. Back to, what I'm experiencing in my day-to-day life and what I have to go out to find. Some of these photos were easy to get, and I just saw them when I was going around, and some of them I had to go places to get them. Overall, 10 out of 10, fun. I learned a lot about PowerPoint too. So, hope you guys have a great day, lovely evening, good morning, incredible good night. Thank you.